So today is egg retrieval day, and this is the outfit that I chose. I'm just gonna wear my pajamas. I just wanted to wear something comfortable, and I don't think there's anything more comfortable than PJs. I changed and decided to go with a Disney sweater because I went outside right now and it's only 47 degrees, so I needed a long sleeve, and this one is pretty comfortable. So. Hi everyone! So it's been a few days since I posted about my egg freezing journey. As many of you guys know, I started this journey a few months ago. I think it was maybe June. Um, I've been trying to do my best to keep you guys up to date on what's been going on. In this video, I want to go in a little bit into more detail of the cycles that I've been through and what the future may look like. So far, I've been through 2 different cycles, and before I tell you guys about that, I want to tell you a little bit more about why I'm having issues with these cycles and why I'm trying to freeze my eggs. I get a lot of questions when I tell people what I'm doing, and typically the questions are like, why? You're so young, why don't you just wait? So I have what is known as diminished ovarian reserve. I didn't know this until after I started the process. So I found this out when I started this egg freezing journey. So diminished ovarian reserve means that the quality or quantity of the eggs is diminished. So there are a few reasons why this could happen. It could be genetics, age, lifestyle factors, or medical conditions. In my situation, I believe that this is genetics because growing up, I do know that my mom had early menopause. And even though I knew about it, we didn't really discuss this in the house. So it wasn't really brought up until now. It does suck because there is nothing that I could do about it. There's no way for me to increase the quantity of eggs that I have remaining. So at this point, what I could do is just freeze whatever there is left. One of the first things that they check when you go to the doctor is the levels of your AMH. Typically somebody between Typically somebody my age would have a level between 1.5 and 3. My level was 0.015. They also do check FSH, and a typical level for somebody 35 like myself should be level 7, I believe, and mine was 18.17. These numbers are both my numbers are both signs of low or diminished ovarian reserve. They also do a vaginal ultrasound to check how many follicles you have. In my situation, I had 0 to 2 follicles in my left and 2 to 4 follicles in my right. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe that the number of follicles can change month to month. So for my first cycle, I was taking prenatals and CoQ10 as my supplements. And for medications, they had me on Gonal-F, Novaral, and Cetrorelix. For cycle 2, I added a few more vitamins, which were, aside from like the prenatal and the CoQ10, I was also taking vitamin D, magnesium, melatonin, biotin, collagen, and omega-3. And for the prescribed medications, I was on 225 of Gonal-F, 5 to 8 units of low-dose HCG, and 20 of Lupron. Going through each one of these cycles has been very difficult physically and mentally. You still have to do like your everyday life, so go to work, hang out with friends, hang out with family. I mean, you don't have to hang out with your friends or your family. I chose to because I didn't just want to be at home. But on top of doing that, then you also have to remember that you have to take do the injections twice a day. So for me, I was doing them at 6:15 in the morning and 6:15 at night. So you kind of have to like rearrange your schedule to be able to be home or carry the injections or figure out how you're going to do those injections and make sure that you're available at that time. There are also things that you can't do. For example, I enjoy working out and running, and those things are a big no-no when you're doing egg freezing. So that does take a toll on you because you're not doing things that you enjoy. On top of that, your hormones are all over the place. Like for me, I felt very emotional the second time around, and it's not easy to explain to somebody how you're feeling. So I would catch myself being upset or angry, whatever, like, yeah, feeling emotional and then having to take control of myself because nobody really knows what you're going through, and you don't want to sit there and explain like, hey, I'm sorry, but like, so it just feels like you're living, how do I explain it, like somebody else's life. Like this is not your typical routine, it just feels like somebody else's routine. So for cycle 1, everything was going smoothly. I had my friends and my family helping me with the injections. I stopped working out, I stopped running, I was doing the labs every 2 days as well as the ultrasounds. And then one day my doctor called me and told me that I had ovulated. I cried because, I mean, it was cycle 1. I didn't understand. I didn't even know that was possible. I didn't understand what was going on. After talking to my doctor, she told me that I could try again and that we would change the protocol. So it made me feel a bit stronger, a little bit more confident because I had gone through cycle 1. And she told me that we were going to make like a few updates, and I knew what to expect. So at this point, I was just waiting for my period to come, and then we would start cycle 2. So on day 1 of my period, I called the office. They had me starting on estradiol, and a few days later, I started on the injections and the ultrasounds and the lab works again. So this time I felt a little bit more confident. I started doing the injections on my own. I was eating cleaner. I didn't work out again. I wasn't jogging. I changed the vitamins. I quit caffeine. I was only doing like 1 cup of decaf instead of regular coffee. I stayed on top of like my protein intake. So I would drink like a cup of water and I would add like clear protein in there. So the second time around, I felt a little bit more emotional. I would catch myself crying for any little reason. Like even if I was driving in the car and something would pop into my head, I would just start crying. And then I would question like what is going on? Or I would catch myself being upset and it I would just question it like it would make me laugh at the end of the day. So my last ultrasound was on a Friday night and they told me so my last ultrasound was on a Friday, and in the afternoon they called me and they told me that that night I would have to do the trigger shot at 10:30 p.m. and that my egg retrieval would be Sunday morning at 8:45. I had to be there. My egg retrieval was at 9:30. So I called my sister to see if she could do my trigger shot. She said yeah. My best friend knew the time also, so at 10 p.m. she called me just to make sure that I was on top of it. She walked me through the entire thing. She is a nurse, so that kind of helped. And my sister did my shot at 10:30. Where? I don't know. Wherever. Scared. There's no bruises there? Mm-mm. Wait, yep. Yeah. Sunday, my best friend came to pick me up. My sister met me at the clinic, so they both went with me. And oh yeah, okay, so they both went with me, right? Anyway, so on Friday they had told me that there was 0 to 2 eggs that they could retrieve. On Sunday, I was nervous and excited, and I was just happy. I kept hoping that there would be more than 2, so then they took me in. Doctor came out and he said 3. I was so happy. I was pretty groggy the rest of the day, and I just went to my sister's house. We watched a couple of movies, we grilled some food, and I just laid on the couch for the rest of the day. So the next day, I went on a walk to a trail with my sister, and we were walking, and I felt my phone vibrating in my pocket. So I took it out, and I saw that it was the doctor's office calling me. So I answered, and I put it on speakerphone, but there was some bicyclists coming, so I took it off speaker since she couldn't hear anyway. There was like a couple, I want to say maybe like 10 bicyclists. That's why she couldn't hear me. So I answered the phone, and they told me that none of the eggs matured. And sorry if I started getting emotional. I try. So they told me that the doctor wanted to schedule an appointment, a meeting, whatever you want to call it, to talk about the results and um, my options moving forward. So that was a heartbreaking moment. I did cry, and I still get emotional talking about it because you put all this energy, all this money, all this effort into like this one thing, and then you're so excited, and at the end of the day, you have nothing. So people do tell me, like, oh, don't overthink it, don't stress out about it. But it's like, this is what my life has revolved around for the last couple of months. So it's hard not to overthink it. It's hard when you just want this so bad. Every day is a constant reminder of this goal, mission that you are trying to get to, because I mean, you have the labs, you have the ultrasounds, you have to do the injections, you have to take the medicine. So it's pretty hard not to think about this. And ever since I could remember, I've always wanted to be a mom. So at this point, the only thing that I can do is wait for this appointment to happen and see what my options are moving forward. I'm not gonna let these two failed cycles stop me. I feel stronger. I feel confident. I know what to expect. And I'm just gonna keep fighting for what I want. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe down below. I will see you guys in the next video where I tell you guys what doctor told me about what to expect for cycle number 3. Bye.